Seventh commandment, another one that we might be tempted to say, no, not me. Don't struggle with this. And away we go. Hold on. Do not commit adultery. Again, before I get into this command in specific, preached on this as well in terms of Jesus' words related to this command. It's on the church website as well. Do not commit adultery. Another command, like do not murder, seems on the surface. I haven't done that. I haven't cheated on my spouse. Maybe you're single. Doesn't apply to me at all. Not so fast. Remember, excuse me, we need to take into account how Jesus is teaching us in his Sermon on the Mount how to read the Old Testament scriptures. He was teaching the Jews how to read the scriptures. Adultery, Jesus went, look, you look at someone else with lust. You've committed adultery in your heart. Adultery is a heart attitude. It's a restlessness of the heart. It's an unwillingness to be devoted and loyal to one and one alone. And that is why adultery was the image God used in the Old Testament to speak about spiritual covenant unfaithfulness. That some of the harshest and most graphic depictions that God gives to the nation of Israel about their infidelity towards God as their covenant king is in the image of adultery. To worship God means to love him and follow him exclusively. He is the only one. Anything less is spiritual adultery. To be faithful to your spouse means to love them exclusively. Your affections, your sexual expression, everything. They're your best friend. They're the one that you trust the most. They're the one that you are to be kind of linked to in stronger ways than to any other person. Even your parents, as we go back to the Genesis account, right? Leave father and mother, cleave to your spouse. So, adultery, what does it do? It destroys that intimate relational bond. Having disordered affections, having divided loyalties, having competing people in your life. It's a recipe for covenant failure and disaster. It goes against covenant because the definition of covenant is to be with someone, for someone, unto their very best. So things like pornography, that's giving affection and attention to someone other than your spouse. It's an act of adultery. Reading a romance novel or watching a romantic comedy and fantasizing that one character or the other I wish my spouse would be more like that or would look more like that, or can get into that line where it's adultery by Jesus' definition. Your desire is not for your spouse alone. You're allowing it to leak, or you're just giving it to someone else. So by that definition, statistically, let alone just on the reality of our culture's view towards sex and its value and relationships and marriage and the sanctity of both, or rather the lack of view of sanctity of both, means that if you're listening to this, you, like me, at some point have committed an act, a thought that has crossed that line into adultery. And so rather than focus on the sin, I don't want to leave going, man, I'm a miserable person. Yeah, by ourselves, by our own choosing, by our own actions, if left to our own devices, we would be. But God. I want to close this devotional by reminding us that all sin, not just whether it's dealing with lust or out and out, full-fledged physical adultery, anger, if you were someone who had murdered someone, God's forgiveness is for all and covers all. And so maybe this morning, what you need to do, or whenever you're listening to this, is to take a few minutes and stop and just say, God, you already know, but here are the things that I know that I've been struggling with. Maybe it has nothing to do with lust or anger. But just take some time, confess, tell him to God, say, God, I don't want this to be a part of my life anymore. Thank you for your forgiveness. And find someone to talk to and help yourself out of those habits of thought or practice. If you need help with this, you just want to talk, no condemnation included, give me a call. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you. May the Lord be gracious to you. And today, as you seek his face, you will find his peace. God bless.